I'm Bill Thompson of Four Seasons Ag Consulting in Livingston, California. I started my business in 1979, so I've had my consulting business for 33 years as an independent. And prior to that, I was working for Chevron Chemical Ortho, which gave me some education in the chemical industry. I have about approximately 6,000 acres of trees and about 1,000 acres of vines that I take care of under my consulting company. I use integrated pest management, IPM, as an integral part of my service to my clients, and I also use conventional approaches which some of my clients require for use on their farms. Integrated pest management is an integral part of my business, and I was introduced into IPM when I started working with Ag Advisors out of Yuba City, which was my first independent consulting firm that I was associated with. In that organization, we utilized different approaches than the conventional growers were utilizing at that time. We reduced rates as an integral part of trying to control the pests that we were targeting at. And we utilized cultural practices as well as nutrition at that time to assist us in keeping tree health, which was a part of the approach that we had for integrated pest management. We also, at that time, in the early 70s, we started working with pheromones. And pheromones are used in insect disruption, and where the two sexes cannot get together and breed to make a generation of target insects. And so it became an integral part of our utilizing the reduced pesticides, because we could use the pheromone approach to eliminate one or two insects at that time from the actual spray treadmill that we were on trying to control the insects. Pheromones were brought into the country, and I worked with Dr. Dick Rice, who was one of my mentors at that time, and it was very new to me, but it was as it turned out, I've used it for 33 plus years in my program because it is so cost effective for my clients. What it does is it takes two insects out of the spray cycles that we would use under conventional treatments and eliminates those from the spray, so we can now, especially now, we have reduced our inputs as far as fuel costs, labor, and so forth to control these insects. And by controlling these insects out of the spray cycles, we can target ourselves into other insects which are minor and sometimes are non-occurring into the crop. And I've had excellent results with it, other than if you do not keep yourself abreast of what's going on in the field with the secondary pests, they can get ahead of you and cause you some heartache. But a learning process is that only happens once, and if you listen to the people in the field, it keeps you up on what's going on so that you don't have that backlash problem. Another part of IPM that's very important is the nutritional part, to keep the trees healthy so that they don't become suspect to stresses from nutritional lack, and insects are attracted to both stresses and excesses. So we balance the nutritional thing much like we do on a vitamin to the trees and to the vines, so that they're producing adequate growth and good crops, and a balance is there so that they don't become a stressed type of an individual. The other thing is water management, which is part of the IPM approach in my book, basically because we use the water management to not over irrigate, which is a big problem that we have in some growers' playbook, because it's so readily available, but it also is detrimental to the tree. And by keeping the water adequate, we don't stress the trees so that secondary pests such as mites come into the playbook, and then that's another spray, which normally we don't have to put on. There's been years that I've not sprayed a miticide on stone fruits or almonds because the growers have been very adequately keeping up their moisture content of the trees. Years ago, we had a problem with San Jose scale on almonds and stone fruits in the Central Valley, especially in my area. And we were using pesticides that were controlled multiple insects, and they were a blanket to a lot of other secondary insects that were really our friends, the predators and the parasites. And when we were treating with those type of approaches, we found that after the winter time, when we put on the winter sprays, we'd come in the spring and we had a huge population of either aphid or San Jose scale, and we had to treat that. And we were just constantly pulling from the pesticide toolbox to go in and treat the insects because we were constantly disrupting everything. Well, when IPM, the catchword started coming into play and we started really studying the attributes of it, we found that we would reduce a lot of our inputs at that time and use softer compounds so that we wouldn't have to be treating as many times in season, if at all. And now, in the years that I've been working, the past few years, San Jose scale is non-existent in most cases in almonds, and a big favor to us, it's non-existent in stone fruits. And a lot of this is brought to the what I referred to as pesticide treadmill. We are now off of that. We're utilizing soft compounds, targeted insect compounds that go specifically to one insect and rather than a multiple amount. And we see the playback coming to us as less sprays, less time in the field, safer fruits, and cleaner fruit at the time of harvest.